So in this video, I am going to show you how to access your exam and the course lecturer evaluation. So once you are logged into your SOMAS platform and you have accessed the particular course that you want to do an exam in, then all you need to do is to scroll down to the section where you have the final examination. So here you can see two icons. You have one for the examination and you have one for the course lecturer evaluation. So the course evaluation can be done at any time before the exam or even after the exam. But you need to note that the exam is timed and you need to do it at the right time when it is scheduled. So let's go to the exam. So here you can see the details for the exam. So this is the front page containing instructions for you as a student. So make sure you go through all the instructions to understand what is expected of you. So at the bottom here, you can see information about the number of attempts that are allowed and information on when the exam closes. So you need to be very careful to make sure that you are doing your exam, at the right time. So make sure you check your timetable and also check the calendar within your SOMAS platform to be able to see upcoming events. So for this exam, I can see that it has a time limit of 2 hours. So if I'm ready to start the attempt, then click on the start attempt. So since this is a timed quiz, you get a prompt warning you that this is a timed exam and you need to do it within the 2 hours as soon as you start the attempt. So if you feel you are in a good place where you can start the attempt, then go ahead and start the attempt. So once you are on the exam, you need to pay attention to the navigation page. So on the right-hand side, you can see the questions that I'm expected to do. So I have question 1 up to question 5, with question 1 being compulsory. So all the sections here, or the questions, have instructions, as given by the lecturer. So in this case, I can see the questions under question 1 are numbered 1 to 6. So let this not confuse you. So this basically is indicates the sub parts for question 1, same case to the other questions. So let's start. So here I am expected to indicate the nature of the exam. So if this is my first attempt, then I need to select on first attempt. And if it's supplementary, you select according to the type of attempt that you're taking. So the next part, I am expected to give more than one answer. So my answers, I'll just select them as that. The next is where I'm expected to give only one answer. So what is the capital city of Kenya? I give my choice there. Here I'm asked, what is my name? So for this type of question, I can do it in 2 ways. One, I can type the answer online on this page here. I can put my name. So my name. Alternatively, I can write my answer on a piece of paper, and preferably an A4 plain paper. So once I write my answers, I need to indicate my registration number on each of those papers. So once I have done that, what I will need to do is to scan or take a picture, a clear picture of the paper that I've written on. And preferably, it's recommended that you download and install phone scanners, which are freely available on the Play Store or App Store. So once I have scanned or taken a clear photo of my answers, I need to upload it. So you click on this button, add, and browse for the particular photo or document and upload it. So once I select open, then I should be able to see the document that I've chosen here. So if you're sure it is the right one, then I need to click on upload the file. But in case by any chance you realize that you have uploaded the wrong document, you can still delete. So if you click on this file that you have uploaded, then it should give you a window which you can, delete that particular file. So once you delete, you can go back again and select the right file accordingly. So the next type of question, I'm asked to write my registration number, and you can see I can only be able to write my answer within SOMA system. So I can put my registration number, which is I09, and that is it. Your answer will be saved. The next type of question, here I cannot write anything on the system, but I can work out my answers on a blank sheet of paper, preferably an A4 plain paper, then take a photo or scan, of course, using the phone scanners that you have installed I've installed in my phone, and then I upload in the same way as shown previously. So it is recommended that you make use of the navigation page on the right-hand side to access the questions. This is to ensure that you are answering the right questions according to the instructions given by your lecturer. So let me go to the next question. So here, this question here is asking me to calculate the mean of the given numbers. So I know that if I'm calculating a mean, I'm expecting a numerical value which can have decimal points. So all I need to do is calculate on the side, get the mean for this list of numbers, and put the answer there. So my answer is that. So the next part, you are asked, it's a statistical question. I'm asked to summarize the data in a frequency table. So I need to give the frequencies. And from what I know about frequencies, I do not expect numbers that have decimal points because these are counts. So I want to give the numbers between 0 and 9.9. So I can say there are 2. So these boxes basically are put there for you to input your answers. So all you need to do is to write your answers within the boxes. And you can see that you have what we call a validation window. So this validation window basically just interprets for you what you have entered. And if what you have entered has an error, for example, if I put a number with a decimal, then that should tell me that my answer is invalid, and therefore I should know that I am expected to write an answer which does not include decimal points. So I'm done with question 2. Let me go to the next question, question number 3. So here, sometimes the lecturer may want to give you more information about a particular question. So in this case, these are just information that I need to read through to understand what is expected of me. So that is the first part. The second part is more information about using stars for multiplication. So I can see that for me to put in 3x, I must put a star between 3 and x and so forth. If I need to write a number with a power, then I have to make use of the caret sign. For example, x squared is entered as x, that sign caret 2. And I also informed here about using brackets. So if you need to enter x power -2, then I have to put in brackets under -2 so that I am entering exactly as I want. Same case to using fractions as powers. So you have to put in the brackets accordingly. The next question also is still a question with information for me. So here I'm being shown how to use the angle brackets to be able to put in the inequalities. So here I have the greater sign. This other one is greater or equal sign. The next question is expecting me to put in the square root of -5. So basically, to put in the square root, you need to type XSQRT in brackets -5. So when you have put your answer, you should be able to see a validation window which shows you what exactly you have entered. So for example, if I don't put the brackets, let's see what happens if I don't put the brackets. Clearly, I can see the validation window telling me that my answer is invalid. So I have to make sure that the brackets are in the right place. The next question, I need to input that equation. So I have y equal to 3x plus 5. So the validation window shows me exactly what I have entered, and it is in line with what is expected of me. But what about if you don't put the multiplication, the star sign to indicate multiplication? That will give you an error. But you need to note that in some cases, your lecturer may have put the settings such that you can just put 3x and that will be accepted. So make sure always that you check the validation window to make sure that what you are entering is what is expected of you. The next type of question is a case where you need to solve your answers line by line. So for example, if I need to write the next part of that solution, then all I need to do is to write, and after the line, click enter, write another expression, and so forth. And you can see that on the validation window, you have exactly what you have entered line by line. So the next question is where you're using these mathematical Greek letters. So for example, if I wanted to enter something like pi, so all I need to do is type pi, just the word pi, and you can see the validation window gives you the interpretation of what you have entered. If you needed to write, for example, let's say delta, so just write the word delta, and your validation window should be able to show you the interpretation of your answer and so forth. So let's go to the next question, which is question 4. So in this question now, I'm asked to type in 0.33 x squared plus 1. So you can see my validation window is indicating to me that the answer that I have entered is invalid because the answer does not accept, my answer contains floating points which are not allowed here. So basically, I would change this to the second part here. You can see the second part. So I would need to enter x squared divided by 3. So the validation window now does not give me an error, but gives me an interpretation of what I have entered. So the next question is where we input the inequalities. So if I wanted to input x less than 0, all I need to do is write x less than 0. If I wanted to put in the other one, greater or equal to, so I just use the greater sign, equal sign, and just write 1. And there I have my answer. If I wanted to put in x less or equal to 3, put in the less sign, then the equal, and of course the number. And you can clearly see the validation window does not give me an error. The next part is putting in the natural logs. So I need to input the natural log of what is under the bracket. So just type ln, then of course be careful with your brackets. So I have x minus 1, but because I want the square of x minus 1, I have to make sure the brackets are in place. And make sure you always check your validation window to ensure that what you have entered is what you wanted to enter. The next part is just how to input the polynomial. And it is clear for powers, you have to use the caret sign and so forth, and make sure you input brackets where necessary. So the next question, question 5. So here you need to enter a fraction. So you can see you have x squared divided by the whole of that. So this is a case where you need to be careful with using brackets. So when I write divided by, so I need to put the brackets, and then I have x minus 5. Of course, the multiplication sign, x plus 1. So you can see this is what I wanted. But what happens if you don't put the brackets immediately after the division sign? You can see the interpretation of your answer. It is not what you want. So you have to be careful with the use of the brackets to ensure that whatever you are writing is exactly what you want, what you wanted, or the right answer that you obtained from your calculations. The next part is the use of sets and lists. So when you want to put in sets, then you should make use of the curly brackets. If you want to write your lists, then the lists are displayed in square brackets. So for example, here I'm expected to put in a list, but let's start with using the square brackets. I have minus 2, minus 1. So you can see here, my answer is invalid because the answer that is expected here should be a set, but what I've entered is a list. So I need to make use of the curly brackets and not the square brackets. And there you can see that you have the right answer. The next part is inputting the sign or the cause. So let me put my answer. It is sine 2x. So there you can see I have an invalid answer. This is because I have not put in the multiplication sign, which is the star, which is accepted in this system. So once I have put that, then I can confirm from the validation window and see that I have entered my answer correctly. So once you have finished the exam, then you need to click on the finish attempt. So the finish attempt should be, the submit and finish attempt should be done when you are sure that you have finished all the questions. So do not click on finish attempt when you still have some questions to answer. This is because if you do that, then it means you cannot go back and do the questions that you have not attempted. So the finish attempt button can be seen on the navigation page or at the end of the pages, which you can see it here. So you can click any of them. Before I click on the finish attempt, you can see the timer. It is counting down, and you should be checking on it frequently to make sure that you have ample time to finish your exam. And you need to finish the attempt at least before the time expires. What also happens, the settings are also done in such a way that in case you don't click on the finish attempt, then all your open attempts will be submitted for you automatically. But it is good to always check the time so that you do the finish attempt personally and be able to have a review of what you have done. So click on the finish attempt. So when you click on the finish attempt button, then you will have a summary of your attempt. And I can see that the parts 1 to 5 of question 1, the answers are saved, while question 6 is not yet answered. If you have enough time, you can still go back and answer the questions that you had not finished. And how do you do that? At the bottom here, you have the option of returning to the attempt, but if you feel you are already comfortable with the answers that you've put, then you need to click on submit all and finish, and you need to confirm that. You click on submit all and finish. So when you do that, then you should be able to see a review of what you entered, though you cannot change this. So you can go through and check what you entered, and that will be all. So once you're done, then you can go back to the final examination, and if you want, then you can do your course evaluation.